Throughout internet history, countless creepypasta-inspired beings have surfaced, created to entertain, frighten, and intrigue audiences all over the world. However, one figure stands apart from the rest, an entity both familiar and terrifying, and a creature that has redefined digital age horror as we know it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story on the rise and fall of Siren Head. To understand Siren Head's origins, we first need to explore the mind that brought it to life. And that begins with one individual from Toronto, Canada. Trevor Henderson, an acclaimed horror artist and illustrator, is the visionary behind this unsettling creation. Over the last decade, Henderson has dedicated himself to unearthing the dark corners of his imagination, particularly through a found footage horror series he began in the latter half of the 2010s. Through these haunting, photorealistic images, he introduced a multitude of terrifying monsters, including Longhorse, Cartoon Cat, and of course, Siren Head. Described as an emaciated 40-foot-tall abomination wrapped in decaying mummified skin, Siren Head made its debut on Henderson's Tumblr account on August 19, 2018. It was accompanied by the following caption. She was on vacation with her husband, and they were scoping out graveyards on the way, as you do, when she saw it rising out of the old cemetery, big as an old telephone pole. As she stepped out of the car, the megaphones on its head screeched to life. A buzzing doubled voice screamed random words at her. At this point, it jerked into motion, striding down the hill towards her. When asked about Siren Head's inspiration in an April 2020 article from Now Toronto, Henderson explained, "In 2018, I did a doodle that was all digital art. The idea was, what would it be like if I could do a moment in a found footage horror movie with VHS texture and stuff? After doing some quick digging myself, that doodle is assumed to be this piece, uploaded July 16th, 2018. From this date on, Trevor's fans began sending in photos for him to spookify with his monster designs. Out of this new art series, one creature stood out and captivated everyone the most: Siren Head. I don't even know where he came from," Trevor elaborates in the Now Toronto article. "I just drew a creature in this photo and wrote up a vague blurb about it. Something about the design hadn't quite been done in that way before, and it just resonated." Over the course of the following months, Trevor continued to release new Siren Head content, almost as if he was beginning to build a universe of its own around this thing. His work also caught the eye of indie developer Modus Interactive, who created a PS1-style horror game based on Siren Head and released it on October 31st, 2018. Though this game would eventually thrust Siren Head into viral fame, that part of the story was still yet to come. In the tradition of internet horror icons like Slender Man and The Backrooms, Siren Head tapped into a collective fascination with the unknown. As Siren Head's journey from niche monster to viral phenomenon was just beginning, the creature began to gain traction in online horror communities. Its bizarre skeletal form and iconic sirens for heads struck a chord with people, sparking endless theories, fan art, and stories that expanded its reach within the online horror community. Throughout 2019, Siren Head continued to grow in popularity, fueled by fan engagement and online video content. YouTubers like myself, along with channels such as Ancient Horror and Clark Teeter, began diving into Siren Head's lore, analyzing the creature's unsettling traits and connecting it to Henderson's larger universe of work. These topics drew millions of views from audiences all around the world, introducing even more people to this towering monstrosity and fueling a fascination with Henderson's creations. In fact, if we look at Google Trends, we can see the moment Siren Head began to rise in popularity, with significant jumps in late 2019 to early 2020. But 2020 was the year everything changed for Siren Head. That was the year the monster went viral, transcending its internet origins and becoming a true horror icon. As we moved into 2020, Siren Head wasn't just an internet horror character anymore. It was a phenomenon. Millions of people were discovering Trevor Henderson's creation for the first time, and it wasn't just through his artwork. Beginning around April of that year, YouTubers such as Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and PewDiePie brought Henderson's terrifying world to life by playing the Modus interactive game and diving down the Trevor Henderson cryptid rabbit hole, thus introducing millions of their viewers to this towering monstrosity.
Holy shit! I thought I would be able to hear you coming! You are so big!
Across social media, Siren Head was everywhere, from fan art and cosplays to memes and TikTok videos. What started as a single drawing had turned into a cultural sensation, and by the summer of 2020, no matter where you looked on the internet, Siren Head was lurking. On TikTok, Siren Head inspired its own wave of trends. Users created various sightings, blending horror with humor, turning Siren Head into a figure that could terrify one moment and entertain the next. Even my friends were asking me about Siren Head during its peak. Friends who had never shown any interest in horror before. The creature's reach went beyond the horror community and into the mainstream, becoming a talking point even among people who usually stayed away from such things. Mainstream media even took notice of Siren Head's popularity. Articles and blogs popped up across the web, analyzing the creature's appeal and interviewing Henderson about his work. It was clear that Siren Head wasn't just another internet trend. It was a horror phenomenon. As fans embraced Siren Head, they crossed over from the digital world into the real one. Merchandise started appearing, a ton of it. Everything from art prints to custom figurines. I even have a little Siren Head plushie a friend got for me a few years ago. However, I highly doubt that most of these are authorized by Trevor himself, so if you're going to purchase anything, please consider supporting the artist directly. Anyway, Siren Head's sudden fame didn't just elevate the creature itself, it brought a wave of attention to Trevor Henderson's entire gallery of nightmares. Creatures like Longhorse, Cartoon Cat, the Man with the Upside Down Face, and more began gaining recognition, becoming some of the most iconic cryptids of the new decade. Suddenly, Henderson's monsters weren't just pieces of art. They were a new breed of cryptids, entities that felt as timeless as famous urban legends. So with its rise and peak being displayed for all to see, what do we ultimately think drew people to Siren Head? Well, from a design standpoint, in my opinion, Siren Head is both strange and familiar, ancient and modern, if you will. There's something about its towering, skeletal form that taps into a primal fear. A feeling that it doesn't quite belong. That somehow it's been here all along. But it's more than just the design that drew people in. Siren Head's blank, emotionless presence, the most mundane and macabre environments, left a lot to the imagination. We're left wondering, what does it want? Why does it exist? It's the lack of answers that keeps people intrigued, drawn to the mystery surrounding it. Henderson did provide some official lore for Siren Head, which I'm sure has expanded since I last covered it in 2020, but the backstory was minimal at best. Henderson allowed us to use our imagination to fill in the blanks. The timing of Siren Head's rise also played a significant role. In 2020, the world was grappling with fear and uncertainty due to the global pandemic. I wouldn't doubt that some saw Siren Head as a reflection of those anxieties, a towering figure emitting warning sirens, symbolizing the persistent sense of danger and the unknown that characterized that year. Siren Head evolved into more than just a monster. As I stated in my June 2019 video on this creature, Siren Head is like a symbol of a collective fear, a reminder that the unknown is lurking around every corner. However, as with many viral sensations, its peak couldn't last forever. As Siren Head's popularity began to wane, the digital landscape continued to shift, and new trends emerged. Siren Head's reign as the #1 trending horror icon was beginning to fade. And I believe I can point out why. Like any 15 minutes of fame, Siren Head's time at the top couldn't last forever. After Henderson's explosive reach in 2020, the internet became saturated with Siren Head content. Art, stories, games, theories. It was everywhere. This constant exposure led to a kind of oversaturation effect. Initially, people couldn't get enough of Siren Head, but as the novelty began to wear off, it became harder to recapture that initial sense of fear and mystery. Throughout the rest of 2020 and into 2021, other talented artists began creating their own horror creatures, inspired by Henderson's found footage style. These artists gave rise to new universes of monsters. In a way, Henderson's influence spread far beyond Siren Head, sparking a kind of horror renaissance on the internet. Artists tapped into their own imaginations, creating creatures that felt just as haunting and timeless as Henderson's. There was also a shift in the audience. Siren Head's appeal had grown so wide that it caught the attention of younger viewers, kids who discovered the creature through TikTok and YouTube. For some horror fans, this mainstream appeal took away part of what made Siren Head so chilling. Suddenly, Siren Head wasn't just a creature lurking in the shadows anymore. It was appearing in memes, TikToks, and even children's stories. For older fans, this shift diluted its mystique, turning it into something more accessible and perhaps less frightening. This led to another effect. As interest in Siren Head and Henderson's cryptid shifted to a younger audience, some content creators began to add their own lore and stories into Henderson's universe. They took creative liberties, giving Siren Head backstories, abilities, and even a wife. Okay, but what the actual fuck? None of this, of course, was never part of Henderson's original vision. While these additions introduced Siren Head to new fans, they blurred the line between Henderson's eerie, minimalistic style and fan fiction. For dedicated fans, these reinterpretations risked taking away from the raw, haunting simplicity that made Henderson's creation so unique in the first place. Yet through it all, Trevor remained dedicated to his art. He could have commercialized Siren Head, pushing it further into the mainstream, but he chose to stay true to his independent roots. Henderson avoided the franchise route, preserving his creations as pieces of art rather than products. It was a decision that kept the spirit of Siren Head intact, but it also meant the character lacked the ongoing content that might have kept it in the spotlight longer, which isn't a bad thing by any means. Even though Siren Head isn't at the peak it once had, its legacy endures. It was more than just a fleeting trend. It redefined digital horror, inspired countless artists, and showed how a single frightening image can still captivate millions. In the end, Siren Head has taken its place as a modern horror legend, a cryptid of the internet age, haunting the digital realm and the memories of those who encountered it during its time. So what do you think led to Siren Head's explosive popularity? Did it tap into a collective fear? Or was it simply the right monster at the right time? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you're intrigued by Siren Head and want to explore more, I encourage you to check out Trevor Henderson's work and support all the independent artists who continue to fuel our nightmares in the best way possible. Also, a major thanks to my family, friends, patrons, and you, the viewers. Thank you so much for making this comeback worth it. I can't wait to show you what's all in store next. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.